Jetour T1 нь Cherry Holden Group-ийн охин компани Jetour-ийн анхны оффроуд автомашин бөгөөд 5 тухыг бартаа замын өндөр чадвартай хослуулсан загвар юм. 200 мм клиренс, 800 мм хүртэл ус гатлах болон 4 дугуун хөтлөгч, 2 тонн хүртэл чирэх чадвартай. Салон нь 15 инчийн мэдрэгчтэй дэлгэц, дижитал хянах самбар, 5 тухтай судал, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto болон ачааны уян хатан багтаамжаар тоноглогдсон. Мөн 540 градус камерын систем, ADAS систем, 6-аас дээш аюулгүйн дээр автомат тормоз, замруудыг хяналт зэрэг нь жолоодлогыг илүү аюулгүй 5 тухтай болгодог. Монголд Jetour T1 автомашиныг Сайн Motors компани албан ёсоор оруулж ирдэг бөгөөд хөтөлбөрийн хувьд хэрэглэгчдийн хэрэгцээнд нийцүүлэн 1.5 болон 2 литрийн турбо бензин, мөн цахилгаан бензинийг хослуулсан плагин хайбрид хувилбараар санал болгодог. CARS&COFFEE нэвтрүүлгийн шинэ дугаарын зочин хөтлөгчөөр Remax Mongolia-ийн бүсийн эзэмшигч Б.Бүжинлхам, зочноор нэгдсэн үндэсний байгууллагын хөгжлийн хөтөлбөрийн Монгол дахь суурин төлөөлөгч Матилда Димовска нар оролцлоо.
Matilda, could you please introduce about yourself briefly?
So, me, Matilda Dimowska, coming from North Macedonia. I represent the United Nations Development Program in Mongolia, and I have assumed that as of September 2023. So that means that I'm almost 2 years in Mongolia, and I qualify to be Mongolian as well. I am privileged to have this role.
As far as I know, and you've been in the many countries, like in CIS, Central Asian countries, right?
Yeah. Well, I have a longer career in the development sector, more than 20 years in fact, and I have joined back in my home country. But the way how I was moving to the UN, I think that my whole education and my whole career were moving me. By education, I'm an economist. So this, I was always taken by the South economic thinking. You know, I was always aware that if you address South economic thinking, apply to a real problems of the country, then you can make a good contribution. So I worked for the private sector, for the government, but then I moved to the UN because it was the platform where I can apply that approach. So Buji, it's first time I meet you, but I'm extremely pleased. I think we will have a nice chat now and further. I wanted to, so can you introduce yourself?
Okay, and my name is Бүжинлхам. I'm currently working in my own business, own family business, and this is a nano group. So Remax Mongolia, we are master franchisee of the Remax Mongolia. So this is a real estate brokerage business. Actually, it's a US-based, the franchise business. So we got the master franchise in 10 years back time, and then we have been working in this business for the last 10 years. So currently 85 broker offices with 1,500 agents. So every day we are working in the Mongolian real estate market to make sure to better serve to our customers.
Impressive. But you know, I'm a newcomer to the real estate market, to the rental market. Can you tell me more? How is the sector doing in Mongolia recently? What are the trends that you observe?
Yeah. So in 2025 and this year, the Mongolian real estate market still remains strong and resilient. And in terms of the housing pricing, it has been increased and approximately 13% this year in year over year, and the last year actually the growth percentage was quite high, but in this year it's a bit stabilizing. I think in still like the end of the year, and it will the growth percentage will remain the same, I think.
But that was on the housing, meaning on the interest to buy.
Yeah.
And what about the renting?
Renting, yeah, because of the rising prices, especially in the young families. To be honest, and to buy like one bedroom apartment, the young families need some support from their families because they cannot afford this. And then to support this issues, the government is trying so hard, I think, and they are doing well, and they are trying to implement the policies especially in the mortgage sector. And as you might heard about, they initiated some fund supporting the mortgage industry, and in the short term, so people don't think about the impact, but I think in the long term, this kind of initiatives so important, and then everyone in the country could benefit from these funds.
Yes, I have been following that development, and it's so good that the government is forthcoming and trying to support the young families.
In long term, what project particularly can contribute to the Mongolian and the sustainable growth? What do you think?
I think the development state and the potential of Mongolia is well understood, analyzed, in fact. The diagnosis is being made. Now it's about the execution of that time.
It's a matter of execution.
Yes, I think the analysis and the roadmaps are there. The vision, meaning the strategic documents, are in place. The Vision 2050 also is there. It provides a roadmap. The importance is to, as I've said, to execute, and then this pivot of the development model towards more sustainability, more resilience and inclusiveness will be extremely important, because also having in mind the global trends. Now, what that means in practice means that few things, but in a big, bold, in a very broad manner. Prioritizing the big bets, the opportunity, strategic advantages where Mongolia has really a lot of potential. And that would be, for example, renewable energies. The potential that Mongolia has in renewable energy, biodiversity. Mongolia has a huge biodiversity that deserves to be protected and capitalized on, and also specific value chains like the Kashmir that can become even more sustainable. And then what is also a huge potential of Mongolia? The youth, the young, extremely well educated and energetic force. So using that in a very strategic, bold manner is extremely important. Execution of the policies, as I was saying, and that means also a strong political will and capacity of the institutions. We cannot expect any reform to happen without the governance being in place. Will we again have floods? And that is the issue of resilience.
1 or 2 years, maybe 3 years, you are renting the properties. When your career, when your income level reach in certain points, you can buy this property. Let's talk about the urban human rights, so related to the urban development. And what do you think, and how does rapid urbanization and infrastructure development touch the human right?
You know, the necessity of a very careful, integrated urban planning is so critical at the times of rapid urbanization and in the times of the climate change, in fact. Because, as we spoke, there are trends that, due to the climate impact, the migration to the urban centers is increasing, and we see it. every year. When the herders, in the absence of any economic opportunity, they come and migrate to the cities that are already heavily burdened in terms of the infrastructure. So having that urban planning properly affording to accommodating the basic services, the basic needs and rights of people for housing, affordable housing, access to the energy, access to transportation is extremely important. That is one important trend. The other issue that and it's a human right basically. Not to mention the other results that potentially come, like the air pollution, because of the way how the infrastructure is set for the heating purposes at the moment. The other issue is large infrastructure projects. It is important that this type of investments are subject or are before initiating any of them, a thorough social economic impact assessment is being made. And that means consulting with the communities about the potential impact, making sure that the biodiversity is not affected, which in the case of Mongolia is particularly important, making sure that there is a grievance complaints mechanisms in place in case some breaches of the rights are being there, that the people can raise the concerns, or having a targeted social protection measures in place to protect in case some are negatively impacted. So that would prevent the negative impact to the environment, to the planet, but also to the people. So that these are the very clear cases when the urban planning infrastructure development meets with the human rights and the ways how to make that meeting for the benefit of everyone, for both the people and the
Exactly,
planet.
yes, exactly.
And there are mechanisms in the world to do that.
Could you please share like best practices in the other countries to solve this issue?
I think these social economic environmental impact assessments are a very important tool and that have been applied. But in general, this making sure that there are good integrated national and local level urban planning policies that coordinate well the land, the use of the land, access to affordable housing, access to services, proper public social services, together with the environmental protection is extremely important. So these are the ways that usually work in many different countries, and this is something that we, together with other members of the UN family in Mongolia, we are advocating for.
Yeah, those are the things. It takes time, right? It takes time.
Yeah, it takes time. It requires, of course, the vision, the political commitment and will, but also it requires ability of the institutions to deliver on that. But can I go back to your sector about the rental market? Can you tell me how it is at the moment, the rental market? I'm renting, of course I'm interested from that point of view. This is a joke, of course it is important part of the sector.
Actually, the market is quite demanding at this moment in Mongolia. In terms of the demographics, actually, the 30% of the people is between 18 to 40, which means in the young families. So young families, you know, they are just starting their life, they are just starting their career, they are in the, you know, especially in the beginning of the career, in the beginning of their everything, the people cannot afford to buy in the property. They look for the rental opportunity, but unfortunately there is no like enough supply to covering this demand. So therefore the price is increasing. especially in like the young families, is always interested in studio or one-bedroom apartment. But unfortunately, in the market, studio one-bedroom apartment is always scarce. Always scarce. I don't know. So in this regard, our developers, the policymakers have to work hard, I think, personally I think. So what we are doing in the rental, the market is like, for example, at this moment, in Remax Mongolia, there is more than 5,000 people actively looking for the renting properties.
Oh, really? So
yeah, renting properties, but especially due to this traffic issues, the people are now looking for the prioritizing location. So nearby, like the school areas, especially in the nearby school areas. So nearby is the public transportation areas, nearby the centralized locations. So those locations, the rental properties are, unfortunately, as a result, the price is increasing so rapidly. We talked about like the housing pricing index, you know, and for the buying market, it already showed the property prices already raised like the 13% in the beginning of this year, but the renting properties, so it's already increased 15 to 25% depending on the location. In the prime locations, we already seen that the 25% growth. So this is the issue at this moment. We need to look for like other more alternatives, and maybe in public and private organizations, the partnerships. For example, as you know, in the other like the countries, there are options: rent to buy, and first maybe the 1 or 2 years, maybe 3 years, you are renting the properties. When your career, when your income level reach in certain points, you can buy this property, which is a really good option.
But do we have that option here?
Unfortunately, at
Not
this
yet.
moment, not yet.
Okay, are we going to have it now? I'm asking.
So, as an entrepreneur, and we are really looking forward for this. So, but we are not the developer. You know, we are more like the agency side. So. We are just talking with the developers. Just please look for these alternatives to serve the people, to serve the population, to serve the residents in Mongolia. So this kind of things, I think, they will implement very soon. I really hope. Yeah.
So, do you have a good relation or exchange with the developers, the forums where you discuss?
Yeah. So, because we are providing some data to the developers. Okay, here is a demand, here is a supply, so here is a room for like the business, room for development, it's a room for improvement, this kind of thing. I'd like to ask about your perspectives in the future, especially in sustainable development and climate change considerations. So what do you think, and how should principles of sustainable development and climate change considerations be integrated to the future housing system?
I think that there are 3 key principles. One is the sustainability, affordability, and the resilience of the housing sector that has to be in place. And that means promoting of green housing design standards, promoting use of energy efficiency standards, uplifting them, but also promoting use of green materials, green standards into the construction industries. And, as I was saying, social norms, making sure that social fairness exists. So these are the very core sustainability principles that any housing policy shall have. And the third one, the final one that is extremely important, is about the climate resilience. Housing and urban planning has to have in mind the resilience to the climate. In fact, as we are driving, it started raining, and these days rains a lot in UP. So I started thinking, will we again have floods? And that is the issue of resilience. how well our houses and the urban planning is resilient to the weather calamities of that kind, which we more frequently have. And that is one also aspect too that we think is important to consider.
Actually, you are well said about the watering system. So the country itself is not well prepared for this kind of the weather situations. But I think in near future, they will do something.
Yeah,
they will do something.
I think it's about making the cities, ensuring that the cities are livable. In fact.
The entrepreneur journey has always like the up and down, and we need to somehow overcome the failures.
So the world needs different approaches, innovation, courage, ability to think beyond the box.
What's your hobby? What do you do in your free time?
Yeah, that's in fact it's a very important question. Thank you for asking. I think one thing that I love doing is wherever I am posted, wherever I go, I walk around myself. I spend time to understand the city, to understand the culture, the neighborhood, the sounds and the smell of it. And that makes me better attuned to where I am. And that's not a hobby, but it's a way of understanding the country. So that is something that I do. Otherwise, I love sports. I do a lot of sports. It gives me the resilience, it gives me the attachment from my work, which is also important. And I love arts. Arts, yes. So I think I'm in the right place, right?
Yes.
to explore my hobbies, and I'm still to start my purchasing of Mongolian art. I'm still exploring the market. But what about you? What is your hobby?
Oh yeah, I do like the sport. So especially swimming, and even though I'm not a professional, but I go to the swimming pool 3 or 4 times a week, so quite passionate about this hobby. And I like running as well, so for me running is kind of like medication. Yeah, while running, and listen to music and be separate from everyday job. Then this is usually the running time is for me the time for reflection, time for relaxation, and time for bit calm down.
Yes.
Yeah. So
we very much need that.
So
I can very understand.
Well, how about your career path? So probably you've been so long career in the development sector.
Yes, I was telling you, I feel very privileged, in fact, that I have been working more than 20 years in the development. I worked in Georgia, in my home country.
Beautiful country,
Yes,
Georgia, by the
Georgia
way. Yeah.
is gorgeous, in a very difficult time for the country, decisive time. But also I worked in Moldova, equally important time in that country. In Turkey twice I have been posted, in Uzbekistan and now in Mongolia. But throughout it was so important, this meaningful contribution to the development and to the people's lives. It's something that gives a purpose. So I love my job because it gives me the purpose of that. But also for me it was important that I have a background, I experience in public and private sector. So I have this 360 degrees perspective and solution, which is very important in terms of being meaningful at the end. So tell me about your career. How did you start and end up what you are now?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, you know. Actually, I have a very, very science background. So my bachelor degree was in nuclear physics, and then I got my master's in Australia and nanotechnology, and especially in the renewable energy, especially in the solar side. So I got my master's there, studied 2 years in Adelaide, one of the beautiful city in the world, I would say, because I've been there 2 years. And now, then almost like 18 years ago, I started the entrepreneur journey with my husband. So it's a family business, so we name it the Nano Group, and because we are pretty much engaged with the science, even though at this moment we are working on like real estate and FMCG, the fast-moving consumer goods market, and fashion retail, pretty much quite diversified business we have, not so many, but the 3 businesses we have. But in the future, we really would like to working on an energy sector as well. So my husband and I was in classmates in the university. So we have same degree in the nuclear physics. And the last question. So what's the advice for the youth?
I think that the world is so much changing, and something that worked in the past does not work anymore, or what we will be facing, it's going to be completely different in the future. So the world needs different approaches, innovation, courage, ability to think beyond the box. So my advice to the young people is to do exactly that, to be curious, to be bold, to think beyond the box, and to do not step back, but be able raise the issues, challenge the orthodox way of thinking, bring new perspectives. So that is think new, be bold. It's very, very big. On a personal level, when I was a young girl, I was a very introvert. Yeah. So I was always stepping behind. I did not want to expose myself. I was not sure whether that I'm doing well. So my advice to the young people, to everyone there, is be courageous, be confident, do it. It's possible. Everyone brings value, and I'm sure everyone will find its wealth that comes from inside. So that's my very personal advice to the young people, to be self-confident and do the things in a different way.
Wow, very well said.
And you? Yeah. What is your advice to the young people?
From my perspective, so you know, and I'm an entrepreneur, and I'd like to tell the young people who's interested in to pursue the entrepreneur journey. So just never give up. Never give up, because the entrepreneur journey has always like the up and down, and we need to somehow overcome the failures. So there is no way like direct way to success. So there would be always an up and down. Just please never give up.
Beautiful. Exactly. Persistent, trust in yourself and do it.
Yeah, just do it. And at the end, so thank you so much for your time. Probably you are so busy because you have lots of roles and responsibilities. And thank you so much for your time. And today we had the very pleasant, the nice conversation. I really would like to continue this conversation and with the coffee. And I really hope we meet again in the near future. Thank you again.
Me, thank you. You opened a new perspectives for me, for Mongolia, and I deepened the understanding and the trust in the future of the Mongolia, and I think I have my new friend here, and definitely we will continue starting with eating the cake.
Yeah.